The big question is China. It used to be one of the poorest economies worldwide, with 88% of its population living below the standard of extreme poverty. Today, China is a middle-income country. The share of extremely poor people has fallen below 10%. The three major factors that drove economic growth in China were first, investment that increased the productive capacity of the industrial sector. The second factor is reallocation, namely the movement of people from villages to cities, and the fact that firms are run less and less by the government, by the state, and more by private corporations that are more efficient. A big factor has been copying technologies from Western firms, and in particular from firms that have increasingly invested in China. This is what we call investment-led growth. The problem is you can't keep copying forever. So once your technologies have come sufficiently close to the quality of the technologies in more advanced countries, there is little to copy. And then you have to introduce your own improvement to the technologies. In order to make its transition into innovation-led growth, China has to reform its institution. It has to become a different type of economy. The three big policy challenges for China are first, the establishment of an independent judiciary system. This is because we want to have good investor protection, and we precisely don't want that firms that are more connected can get by with their own rules. The second thing is financial development. So we need a system where new startup firm can access financing through the market, not only through large banks, but we need specialized financial institutions that are able to absorb risk. So I'm thinking about venture capital, I'm thinking about private equity. The third big issue is corruption. While being generally a bad thing, corruption in some developing economies is actually an instrument by which the government gets things done. In particular in China, by allowing local government to extract resources by way of corruption and allowing this local government to promise firms monopoly power, well, that has created a lot of mobilization of resources. Curbing corruption should be part of the story, but if you only curb corruption and do not make the other reform, you do not create the incentive for investment and innovation to come up through the market economy, then the risk is that you simply have less growth. The big takeaway is China is today at a turning point. If it fails to introduce necessary reforms, be it political, be it economic, it risks going through a slowdown of its economic growth process, as it has happened for other middle-income economies. The positive scenario would be one where China turns into an environmentally friendly growth. It makes the necessary reform that keeps its growth high and sustained, and it develops the potential of its domestic market so that China is no longer just a large exporting economy, but also becomes a market for the product of the West. Since China is such a large economy, this may have extremely beneficial effect on the whole world economy.